Kia's Fastback has returned. Regal Kia has given us the 2023 Kia Stinger GT line rear-wheel drive in the Ascot green. The performance exterior styling with the blend on the interior of a sports car and a European design. Hatchback brings the value with rivals like your refreshed Mercedes-Benz C300, the BMW 3 Series, and Audi A4. But the difference with this hatchback or fastback design is it's going to be the least expensive for maintenance. You're still getting the performance and the luxury. I'm Anthony from Hawkeye Rides, and I'm going to go over all the specs and details starting now. The new Kia Stinger highlights the fascia with vents everywhere, starting on the hood, and it just integrates flowing into the tiger nose grille. I like that we get the smoke chrome and you get the honeycomb in between it. The Kia badging right on the top, so it just sets a nice flare because it is a wider vehicle. When we are comparing it to the rivals, it's actually the widest. Ground clearance is also the best at 5.1 inches, and it integrates into your LED reflector headlamps, optional projected beams, LED low, high, and daytime runnings, auto leveling, directional and adaptive auto high beam setup. So if you really want to option this thing out and go full luxury, you could do that, and you still get your active side curtains that's going to brush into the flared out fenders with 18-inch multi-spoke alloy wheels. Working down the lower, you're going to get that smoke chrome for the air vent, and the aerodynamic lines go into the wide rear track that's going to house a quad exhaust outlets, and these are larger tips. They did this back in 2022. On the lower part, all gloss black. You got the diffuser, you got the grille inserts, the hatchback design with the combination LED tail lamps. And when we are comparing this to the rivals, which one's going to look the sportiest? I think because they highlighted all of that chrome with a smoke chrome look, this actually looks a lot more sporty than even the new C300, unless you get the AMG Night package. The A-pillars are drag reduction aerodynamics. When you option up to the GT level, you can get a 4-piston front with a 13.8-inch disc reading. The rear, a 2-piston with a 13.4-inch reading, and those would be Brembo specs. What we have is going to be a little bit smaller. 12.6 in the front, 12.4 in the rear, but you still have the limited slip differential, McPherson strut front suspension, a multi-link rear suspension. All-wheel drive models will receive an electronic control transfer case, dynamic torque vectoring control. The length is going to be the longest over the Benz and the Beamer at 190.2 inches, and that's also going to go into the wheelbase at 114.4 inches. You're going to get the smoked out chrome on the side view mirror cap, and because we got the GT Sun and Sound package, you're going to have a wider moonroof. So the actual layout of this is going to be more unique. It's only about a $2,300 upgrade. The wider rear window with the smoke chrome trim, Stinger badging, and the exhaust is really where it's at. This is a 2.5 liter inline turbo. We're gonna hear that exhaust note after we go inside this hatch that is the best in cargo. 23 cubic feet. You have a spare tire tucked underneath, LED lighting. Fold the rear bench down at a 40-60 split. That's going to max the cargo to 53 cubic feet. Because the exit is so performance driven, let's go inside so we can really hear that turbocharge. What I like about the Kia Stinger is it still has a aggressive exhaust outlet sound, and this is the single turbo 2.5 liter, which we're going to get into the specs in just a second. But when you're thinking about the Mercedes-Benz and the BMW, when you go same price point like a 330i or just a C300, this is going to have more horsepower and more torque, and they back the performance with that 2.5 liter inline 4-cylinder turbocharged, producing 300 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque. That's paired to an 8-speed automatic transmission, achieving 22 to 32 mpgs. That's good for a 0 to 60 at 5.7 seconds. Quarter mile, 14.1 seconds, stopping 60 to 0, 124 feet. When we're looking at price points, this is going to have the most for performance and the quickest numbers. So whenever you're looking for a 40 grand vehicle, you really need to stop and think, which is the best route? Go for the fully redesigned Mercedes, the BMW, or the Kia that beats all of them with more horsepower and torque when it is at the same price point and you still get all those styling on the exterior. Let me know in the comments what you think about the 2023 Kia Stinger GT line. As we go into the interior, go over the tech, and take this for our test. Entering inside the new Kia Stinger GT line, and it's going to receive 38.3 inches of headroom, 42.6 inches of legroom. It's a beige leather, 12-way power adjustment for the driver, 8-way power adjustment for the passenger. They're heated. You get the GT badging, perforated, contrast stitching, but it really blends in to the interior color. And I do like the simple / Euro design that starts on the dashboard, because you're going to get these circular vents that are very similar to the old C300. Now it's obviously refreshed, but I do like gloss black on the ends. So those air vents are going to look a little bit more stylish, whereas the ones in the center, a little bit more sporty. So they give a good blend between luxury and sport in the interior. On top of those vents is going to sit a 10.25 touchscreen with navigation. So we have the pinch, and we got the swipe. Click into the home button so you can see everything we have. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, Bluetooth streaming connectivity, dual climate control settings, Kia Connect. Switch it to reverse. You have your trajectory and the lines expand, so that does make it a little bit more easy. You can also change the camera positioning to make it easy for your reversing. So I do like that we have the reverse sensors as well, because it keeps that safeness in the Kia line. We don't have the blind spot mirrors where it illuminates in the gauge cluster, and that is something that I would definitely option, because none of the vehicles are offered except for the Kia line. Underneath those vents, you're going to have your map button for your navigation and to turn on the stereo system, which we do have the upgraded Harman Kardon. Working a little bit lower, open this up, and you got a wireless charger, a 12-volt USB, an area that you can even fit your key fob. I do like the gear lever with the leather wrap over it, and it got the contrast stitching that goes into your driver mode select and your auto hold. Heated seat switches with your camera right here, so you can just click it on the fly if you really need to go a little bit quicker than putting into reverse. Cup holders, 16.9 ounce fits without any issues. I would say a 32 ounce is good. Gloss black all over the center. Open up inside here. It's going to be wide, not so deep. You got a tray. The tray is a little fun configuring it back in too, but once you finally get it in there, it's not so bad. It's going to be more firm for your elbows. Leather wrap steering wheel, GT line badging. It is a square bottom, multi-function paddle shifters. I do like the bold Kia badging. The gauge cluster, you're going to have a digital readout in the center that can go through an array of information for the driver. Now, if you option up to the GT1 or the GT2, you can get 16-way power adjustments, heated, ventilated seats. They just pretty much throw all the luxury amenities in the vehicle. But at this spec, you're still getting the most power adjustments when we're comparing it to the rivals. Door panel, harder materials on the top. You're going to get the gloss black with the tweeter. You're going to get some soft inlays where you rest your elbows and where you put your arm against it. One touch up and down for the windows. And you got the upgraded Harman Kardon with storage, probably about two 16.9 ounce water bottles. So it is still efficient for a family and have a little bit more sportiness into your lifestyle. Let's see how I look in the back. For the back seat of this fastback, 37 inches of headroom, 36.4 inches of legroom. What I do like is I can actually fit back here. Elbows are going to be pretty soft in the center. Cup holders, 20 ounces is going to be max. You got your air vents. You have a USB and a 12-volt storage behind both of the front seats. The floor is not completely flat, which is going to make it a little bit undesirable and maybe tight for me to fit, but we'll see in just a second. Door panel, harder materials. You get the tweeter with the gloss black, and you're going to get the soft where you rest your arms, one touch up and down. In storage, you could probably fit about two 16.9-ounce water bottles. What I do like about this when I'm comparing it to the C300 is I feel more sporty, only because of that hatchback or the fastback design. So they did a great job giving that European inspiration even into the rear. Let's see how I look in the center. Sitting into the center, you can see you're gonna have to adjust a bit. Headroom, it's gonna be a little bit of an issue. You're gonna have to move back maybe. Leg space is going to either be grazing or completely against the front seats in the position I'd be sitting, or a little bit further back, sharing a significant amount of feet space. But shoulder space, not as bad because the seats do flare out. It's just the way the cushion design is. It's more inward, so the outward lip is a little bit more bulged upwards. It's not going to be necessarily uncomfortable, but you sit more closer, so it's going to be more of a close fit. But anytime you option a fastback or a hatchback design vehicle, you're going to lose some headspace, you're going to gain some leg space, you're going to get a lot more cargo space, but the drive to it, the dynamics behind it is really what's more fun and pleasurable, because everything is raised up for the door panels and you sit downwards. Even though the ground clearance is over 5 inches, it feels like we're super low. Let's see how that drive is. Taking the 2023 Kia Stinger GT line out for our test run. 2.5 liter turbocharged inline 4-cylinder, 300 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. It is better than all of the standard rivals. However, the 0 to 60 is about anywhere from 0.2 to 0.5 seconds slower. However, you're getting great gas consumption as well. You're still getting more room in the interior for cargo space and leg space, so it is good in that perspective. If you need more power, get the GT1 or GT2, and that way you can really get a lot of bang for your buck, because it's a twin turbo. It's going to increase that power by a significant amount. 376 pound-feet of torque versus 311. I mean, the pushback, which you'll see in a second, is going to be a light touch compared to that. But either way, I like that the numbers are all 300 plus, because when you get into those numbers, it actually gives a little bit more of a sporty drive, and that's what we're going to see right now. Here we go. The exhaust doesn't necessarily filter in as well as the twin turbo. It's a little bit more meaty with that one, but you still get a good performance blend. Also, that engine is a bigger engine, so you can't really say, should I go this or that? That one's a V6, this is inline 4. The drive still sits low but wide, so you do have the Euro styling to it. Dynamics, it does stay planted, so I do like that. Brakes, we're gonna actually show you some maneuverability and some harder braking. It's not Brembo, but it still does an excellent job, and that's what you really are looking for. Something that's sporty and safe, all blended in. Turn radius and more or less a stop point is going to get about 2 lanes, sport mode, and here we go. I guess really where it's at is when you're going from a 4-cylinder to a 6-cylinder, a single turbo to a twin turbo, you're going to have a pretty significant difference. Even though the horsepower isn't 100% or 100 more, it's still a huge difference in the pushing back for the torque feel and the dynamics. Is it a fun vehicle to drive daily? Yes. Is it something practical? Yes. Best value? Hands down. Okay, we are at a red light, green light, here we go. Once you spool it up, and it really takes about 25 RPM or right at almost 3 RPM for it to really just go crazy, it's a very fun vehicle. Underneath that, it seems like it's a little bit bogged down. It's gonna take me into the 3 things I like and 3 things that I dislike. Is anything more than that, I'd be taking this Stinger home. So the 3 things that I like about it is you are getting And I'm not trying to sound like a broken record, but the value, I mean, 300 horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque. When you look at it from Mercedes-Benz, from BMW, even Audi, they don't put that much power in their entry-level engine. You have to go up the ladder. You'd have to get like an M340i in order to get really that wow factor, and then yes, that is the best bang for your buck. For Mercedes-Benz, you're going to have to go to at least a C43 AMG, and again, price point, it's going to keep escalating, so you're going to be anywhere from $10,000-$15,000 more. Same thing when you get into the Audi. You're going to have to go into the S4 in order to really get your performance out of it, and that's why this is the best value. The second thing that I like about the vehicle is how they have some weight to the steering wheel, because when you get into the rivals, it's starting to get a little bit more luxury, and it's taken away from all of the aerodynamics and all of the dynamics of the vehicle that makes it more fun and pleasing. The last thing that I like about the vehicle is the way you sit in it. You sit low to the ground, so I actually feel just as low as a C300, and yet I'm higher up. So now I can go over speed bumps, going over impurities. It's actually a lot smoother. I'm not feeling like I'm in a sports suspension where I'm just shaking or my cameras are shaking, because this is a vehicle that can be driven on a daily use. Three things that I dislike has to start off with the fact that it is slower than all of the rivals. And yes, you're saving a significant amount of money. But when you're looking at it, I mean, it's over a second quicker when you get into the 3.3 liter V6 twin turbo. That's a significant difference, and it makes me say, you know what, let me spend a few extra thousand to go to that line instead of getting the base entry level. The second thing that I dislike about the vehicle is the gauge cluster is not a full digital reader, and because the rivals are really stressing on all the glass that you're getting in the interior, meaning your center touchscreen and your gauge cluster, it would be nice to incorporate some of that, and I get it, it's going to be tough to do a lot of reworking, considering this is still kind of up in the air whether they're going to keep the car or discontinue the car, because they are going towards the electric avenue. The last thing that I dislike, I'm a petrol head, I like to hear exhaust notes. Because this engine isn't so throaty, you have all that exhaust outlets in the back. It looks so performance driven, and you have to hit a high RPM to really make it scream. And because when you get into the V6, you don't have to hit it as hard, I just wish that they would find a happy medium for the base engine, because just like I was saying prior, it almost makes you say, you know, just spend a few extra thousand, get the bigger engine option so I can really just enjoy those 0 to 60s under 5 seconds. I'm gonna beat everyone in quarter miles. Top speeds are fast. You get Brembo brake specs. But I want to get the base model so I don't have to spend so much on the Brembo brakes. I don't have to spend so much for the wheels. And I have a longer drive with less intervals for those components on maintenance. And even for your oil change, it's going to be significantly cheaper in this model because this is an inline 4. So I do like the fact that at least you have that, but in the same category, just give us a little bit more bang for that note. Quietness, you're going to hear some road noise, but it is still pretty quiet for the most part. It's derived more or less because we are a fastback. We're sitting down low on the ground, even though we're over 5 inches of clearance. It is actually quieter than the new Mercedes-Benz. It's a little bit quieter than the BMW. The Audi is always usually the most quiet line. As for interior storage cubbies, this one is going to be right at one of the best. The new Mercedes C-Class has implemented a little bit more storage. However, this one's going to be better. You also have the hatchback, so you have to remember that this is going to be the most for cargo because of that fastback. And to show you what I mean by some of the lag, so we're going to do it we're at 2 RPM. We're going to give her a go. Not as significant, but when you're right around that housing of 2.5, like I said, it's just ready to go. I do like that we're still with the Kia Stinger, because there has been a lot of talks that it's going to be discontinued. Also the K5, there's a lot of talks. Nothing has been polished out and said yes 100%, and it's going to be sad when or if they do take it out, because this is such a great value, very unique vehicle, especially coming from the Korean side, because you don't necessarily expect this much performance in this much of a fun everyday drive. I'd like to thank Regal Kia for giving us this 2023 Kia Stinger GT line for our car review. If you're already a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Hawkeye community. If not, click the next video. Check out the details, merchandise website, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can see everything in Hawkeye Rides.